Hi, this is Amir Anzur from Webpreneur University. I'm standing here with Khurram Iqbal, who's the CEO of Wisdom IT Solutions. And one big question that we always have is, how do I take payments online? What payment gateway should I use? How do you do e-commerce in the UAE and in the Arab countries in general? And so it's great to be speaking to him because he is the e-commerce guru. He's done over 40 implementations for e-commerce for various clients, from flower shops to different types of things. But what I'm going to do is get straight to the point. How do we start taking credit card payments? So Khurram, thanks for being on. So
thank you.
What is the way that we can start taking payments online?
Well, there are various methods that you can accept the credit card payments online. The first most used one is the PayPal, and definitely it's very easy to use. You can just go on the PayPal, create an account and get the code to attach with your website and start accepting the payments. The other one most widely used
with PayPal, some people say you cannot accept payments with the UAE credit card, for instance. Is this true?
Well, it's not true. If you have the personal account, the only problem you can face is about when you are withdrawing the amounts. Okay, the problem is like that when we create when we create an account with them, we do not validate it. It's a very simple method to validate it. When you create an account, they charge you $1 and they actually send 4 numbers PIN code to your statement. Just get that 4 numbers PIN code and enter into the PayPal and your account is now validated. When you have the personal account, you can only withdraw $500 and you still have to pay $5 for each transaction. If you have the merchant account, I mean you just upgrade your account to the premium account, still there is no charge. When you are actually upgrading to the merchant account, that means that now you want to accept payments on your website. Okay, and now you can actually withdraw as much amount as you want. You can do it anytime. It takes 7 days because definitely they transfer it from the USA and they charge you $5 for each transaction.
What's the downside of using PayPal?
Well, the downside of using PayPal is, especially for the UAE people, it cannot be fully integrated into your website. Anytime the customer is coming on your website, they have to leave your website for the payment. They go to the PayPal website and then either they create the account or pay through the credit card. So when you are a serious merchant, it is sometimes, I mean, people do not feel it that it's a good thing. And many times when people do not have the PayPal account and they go to that page, so they feel that maybe they have to create another account and do something and they start leaving your site.
But PayPal, the customer does not have to have a PayPal account, right? You can still take credit cards with that, right?
Yeah, definitely. You can still pay through that.
Okay, so PayPal is one way. What's the other ways? What's a more preferred or?
Well, the other one is that you can have your own merchant account, especially if you have good business, you have good number of transactions online. You can go for your own merchant account. Right now, there are a number of banks in UAE that are providing this facility, and mostly the 2 gateways are used, Nexus and Etisalat. For example, if you go, but still the cost is little higher. There is more monthly cost involved with it. There is
roughly what's the cost for setting it up?
Well, setting it up, they charge you $500 in the start, and then they start charging you 5,000 dirhams per year.
Okay.
Okay, and then they charge you 3.5% per transaction.
Wow. So
but if you join them for your lifetime, you just have to pay 15,000 dirhams. Okay, besides your setup cost. And then they do not charge you every year, but still you have to pay 3.5% per transaction.
And that's but in order to get that merchant account, you have to be an existing business.
Definitely, you have to be legal business here in UAE. You should have a company here. You should have established bank account. You should have established business. You have to actually give a kind of feasibility to the bank that what is your business, how you are going to build it, why you need to be online, how much transactions you are expecting, everything you have to give to the bank. And then still it's on their disposal that they accept you or not, because they usually go for the large companies, they do not go for the small companies.
So a housewife sitting at home, never had run a business before, getting their own merchant account is not really as viable, right?
Yeah, of course it is not viable, and definitely they cannot get it actually.
Okay. So, okay, then the third option. What's the third option?
Well, there are some other options also, like just like PayPal, there is another option, 2CO. There are some companies who are providing the merchant accounts also. But once again, when you are going for the merchant account specifically, they charge you monthly. They have some upfront cost. But 2CO and PayPal are the two widely used payment gateways that do not charge you the fixed money. They just charge you by per transaction. But when you are going for the 2CO or PayPal, you should know that, for example, we calculated that how much is the cost we have to bear if we have the revenue of $500. It's approximately 9%. So when you are pricing your products and you are getting charged by this PayPal or 2CO, you should have at least 9% to 10% over that.
Wow. Huge money to be made, all right? So it's not something easy to set up, because I mean, PayPal competitor in the Middle East, it's not coming anytime soon.
Well, for now we do not have any prospects in front that who is going to take their place, because in UAE still definitely you do not have so many clients, you do not have so many people who are establishing e-commerce website. You will find very few e-commerce website who are actually being done in UAE and actually doing business in UAE. So that's why, I mean, if you have like just few hundred clients, who will come here and set up everything?
So I cannot, like, let's say if I want to start selling shoes online, right? My first option is PayPal. Secondly, I can go to checkout, right? I think I've used checkout myself, and doing this event, they're not accepting. They say events are not allowed or something like this. So then the third option, what's authorize.net? What's the difference between?
Well, there are so many other, again, as I told you, there are the merchant account options. There is one option is authorize.net. They still have some kind of, you know, they get some information from you before accepting you. But once they accept you, they have less charges than PayPal and other like 2CO. And the best thing is you will have your credit card processing within your website. But then you need some developers to integrate it into your website. Any merchant account you get, definitely, because the merchant account providers, they provide you only APIs or some gateway codes to integrate into your website. So you need web developers who understand that, and then they integrate into your website.
Okay, cool. And can you just mention some e-commerce platforms like open source, like OS Commerce, and other e-commerce platforms that people can look at to get their business off the ground?
Well, there are so many actually. You can go for the different kind of e-commerce solutions. The easiest method is that you can start with the hosted solutions, just like the one like Marcus.com or BigCommerce.com, and there are so many actually. They are easier because you don't have to go for hosting, you don't have to go for setting up your website. Everything is pre-set up. You just get a subdomain name and you start adding up your products, and they are there to help you out. And usually, for example, like BigCommerce, they have their own pre-developed payment gateway system inside, and you can start working with that also. The other option, if you go for, you know, a little bit advanced thing, you go for your own hosted solution, then you can go for the open source solution. Still you need a little bit knowledge of the open source. There are few open source solutions available, like Magento is there, OS Commerce is there, OpenCart is there, Tomato Cart is there, and so on. There are like so many open source solutions available. They are cheap in the start, they are free in the start, but when you are getting big, then you have to look at the developers of those open source, and that is the time when you have to spend actually cost over that.
Okay, great. What's a website that they can get you on
well, they can go to my company website. This is www.wisnetsoul.com, wistnesol.com.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Khurram. As you see, e-commerce is at the heart of the internet. You got to know what's going on with it. Khurram's an expert in it. He'll be at Webpreneur University, but learn from him and check out his company. And we'll catch you next time on webpreneuruniversity.com.